And now it's time for another edition of What Would Jello Do? Boy, in amongst all this race baiting going on, and let's hope somebody throws rocks so we can shoot them and have a shooting war across the American border and kill some brown-skinned people at the same time to save the almighty President Trump amongst whatever this agenda really is. All that is kind of obscuring something else very, very dangerous. It gets mentioned and yet it doesn't, that he wants to literally blow up an anti-nuclear weapons treaty, a nuclear arms control treaty that dates clear back to Reagan and Gorbachev that took decades to negotiate. Not only does this, along with breaking the treaty about Iran's supposed nuclear weapons program and stuff, mean it's going to be that much harder for anybody to trust the United States in a treaty in the future. After all, ask Native Americans how we really handled treaties over these years. But internationally, I don't know how many more we've actually gone right out and broken like that. So you wonder, besides enriching the defense industry, which has been on a war economy ever since Harry Truman made it so, out of fear of another depression happening after World War II with all those soldiers coming back, and now we're stuck with it unless we decide not to be. Anyway, it's not just to make more arms manufacturers money for nukes we are never supposed to use, but you wonder at this point, well, geez, doing all this blanket business, don't you ever worry about your place in history, Trump amok? Oh, I'm the best president ever. I've accomplished more than any other president. As the entire United Nations gallery laughs. But there's another question in relation to this and a lot of other things that nobody ever seems to ask Trump during one of his impromptu, off-the-cuff press conferences when it's about time somebody did. Does Donald Trump believe in the end times, the rapture, the last generation, things like that? He does have a religious streak in him that dates all the way back, in spite of all the other stuff he does. But how else do you explain all these other things like blowing up the Iran treaty, see if we can get a nuclear war going there and try and invade Iran and fail even worse than we did in Iraq, moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, almost hoping to provoke the third intifada and have more conflict there and steal more land, because supposedly, according to the religious right, you're supposed to have more land for Israel before the Messiah comes back. Little Rocket Man, you never know when that's going to fall apart. We fell in love. Now we're having a lover's quarrel. That sort of thing. And of course, destroying the planet as fast as possible. Drill, baby, drill. Clean coal. More poison in the water. More poison in the air. Wreck everything. Why? Well, some people may recall that horrible Interior Secretary James Watt, who came from the Coors-supported Mountain States Legal Foundation directly into being Reagan's Secretary of the Interior. When he wanted to do all that and sell off national parks and this, that, and the other, somebody at a press conference asked him, well, what about our children? And he smiled that weird space alien grin of his and said, well, by then we will have seen the second coming of the Lord. Sarah Palin, too, right after she lost the vice presidency, said on, I think it was The View maybe, that, well, we need to expand the Israeli settlements as fast as possible because a lot more Jews are going to be moving there soon. That is end times, rapture, Armageddon talk. Not to mention, why else does even Trump's economists think they can get away with running all these deficits through the ceiling just to give themselves and their fellow corporate gangsters such a giant tax break? Well, there are even people in the George W. administration back when he was running up all those deficits for Iraq saying, well, I mean, the Lord is coming back soon, and since God loves America the most, they're going to put all the money back. They actually believed that. Where are those economists now? Maybe even in the same jobs. I mean, Trump was brought up in one of the early preacher-for-profit megachurches run by Norman Vincent Peale. I guess it was more of a so-called positive prosperity gospel, whatever, money will come raining down on you. But the Trump family went to Peale's church every Sunday, apparently, and Norman Vincent Peale even did Trump's first wedding to Ivana way back when. So there's some little streak in there that may explain some of this backdoor rapport with everybody from Mike Pence to the go-between that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is and the others motivating this stuff. Well, I've also had a whole song called Crapture saying, hey, if this really does happen and this part of Christian mythology is really true and all these true believers start flying up to the sky, naked no less, that might be a good thing, because then all these bigots and planet wreckers and warmongers are gone, and we can finally put things back together again without being told we're enemies of the people or terrorists or whatever.